Welcome to the First and 30 podcast. This is episode 36. Antonino, what are we doing during this again?
We give everyone 4 unpredictable, tantalizing downs with 30 short minutes to get you through your hump day.
Quite the introduction, good sir. Appreciate you teeing it off in that way. Welcome to the First and 30. Dude, we have a big trip coming up, man. I'm pretty stoked about it. Why don't you tell the listeners what we have up our sleeves? I know we've kind of played around with this idea on air and live, but what do we have coming up?
I'm going to be going to the Lone Star State of Texas with none other than the voice of radio himself, Nick Ocasio, ladies and gentlemen, and 2 other Cowboys fans. So that's brave. 3 total Cowboy fans. Cowboys fans.
You are a brave soul. I couldn't believe that you are willingly paying out of your own pocket good hard-earned money to go to Dallas to watch your Bengals lose. And probably a meaningless game at that point in the season for your Bengals too, because they'll have nothing to play for. No playoffs. You know, they're 1-3 right now. They got to win against the lowly Panthers this past weekend. So it'll be really nice to see you in despair as the Cowboys just walk all over the Bengals and Dallas.
I cannot wait for Monday Night Football. Joe Burrow will probably throw 6 touchdowns in that Swiss cheese defense, as I like to say in Jerry's world. I cannot wait, and I'll bring enough tissues for all 3 crying Cowboys fans. Not a problem.
All right, man. We'll see. But we have a few months before that starts. We have a lot of cool stuff to get into in today's episode. Week 4, a month into the season already. And I think for first down, even though we're only a month in, there's already coaches that are on the hot seat, Antonino. So how about we kick off this episode and taking a look at which coaches currently are on the hot seat? Who do we think is realistically like scorching hot? Maybe you give a take like scorching hot, mild hot, like, you know, the burner's barely on. So who's a name that's popping up in your circle right off the bat that you think's like red alert, you know, maybe time to panic about this guy?
There is a scorching hot seat, and it belongs none other to Nick Sirianni, head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles. The guy is getting it from all sides, and I had to get the truth here. I had to find out the truth. I tapped into my resources out there, the Philadelphia fans. I hit up a loyal listener, Tim. I said, Tim, what's the deal here? Who's at fault? What's the problem? He said, hold the phone. It might be Jalen Hurts, the turnover machine.
Yep.
So I think this might be the problem. Jalen Hurts, 42 fumbles, 38 interceptions in 66 career games. Yikes.
And he's been on a tear here lately with the turnovers ever like leading into last season. And there was talk and murmurs, nearing the end of last season with Sirianni too, where a lot of pundits and talking heads were saying, you know, the Eagles were 10-1. They ended the season 11-5. So it was like a really, you know, people were saying that he lost the locker room. Players didn't respect him anymore. It was a divided locker. So there was a lot of chatter. But coming into this season, it seemed like they quelled most of those storms and everything was all hunky-dory. But Eagles are struggling a little bit, sitting here at 2-2. So you're thinking the blame should not fall solely on Sirianni's shoulders, that it's Jalen Hurts, and your insider source told you.
My sources, that I tap into some deep sources rooted in the Eagles organization, and that's the inside scoop. But that's not the only problem. The Georgia defensive experiment, they have a lot of Georgia players. That's not going well. No. It's not working.
They're 4th worst defense in the league right now. Yeah.
So it's a 3-pronged thing. It's between Jalen Hurts and all his turnovers, the defense Georgia experiment not working, and Sirianni, his play calling, not exactly the best at times. We saw that when Saquon dropped that pass a couple weeks ago against the Falcons when they should have ran the ball. Yeah. And then this past week, the first 9 plays of the game, they go 3 and out 3 straight times. I think Saquon touched it 2 times, so 2 out of 9. You got to get your playmakers the ball.
Yeah. I mean, in the first half in this game against Tampa Bay too, the Bucs outgained Philly by it was like 200 yards to like almost nothing or something ridiculous.
Yeah, I saw a screenshot. I don't know if it was photoshopped.
Yeah, I know. I had to rub my eyes. I saw the same screenshot. So we might need to like get some proof and validating if that's true or not. But Well, I think it's a little unfair too with Sirianni. The guy's been what, he has a 36-19 record now in his career with Philadelphia. We're what, not even 2 seasons removed from the Eagles being a few plays away, a penalty away from winning a Super Bowl, and Philadelphia already is looking for blood, and the Sharks are sniffing. They sense Sirianni's weak. They can sense the weakness and the fear in him
Yep.
right now.
There's blood in the water, and Sirianni, that seat is scorching hot.
Okay. So Sirianni, you say scorching hot. He's kind of in the middle hot for me, I think. You already made up some points, I think, that supported the argument there with Jalen Hurts. But what about, I think there's like one more name, the obvious name that's now popping up this week. Jacksonville, they're 0-4 now to start the season. They are 1-9 in their last 10 games. Head coach Doug Peterson. I, I mean, this has got to be the hottest seat in the NFL at the moment, right?
Maybe I'm grabbing onto the falling sword here, but I don't think it's all his fault. The games they've lost, besides the Buffalo game, we know what happened there. They've lost close one-score games. So, like this past week, Houston, it came down to the last drive or so. They had the lead there. They made some plays, but they just can't seem to finish the deal. So, is it the coach? I don't think it's quite him just yet. Although the interview after the game, they did mention maybe taking play calling from the offensive coordinator. So I think everyone's just a little confused here. And Shad Khan, the owner, he specifically said before the season that this was the best Jaguars team, most talented team they've ever had.
Yeah. And speaking of Shad Khan, I saw a quote that was reported after that loss to Buffalo. The reporter said this was the angriest they had ever seen Shad Khan in all their years of reporting for Jacksonville and interviewing him. So he's starting, it seems, to lose his patience maybe a little bit, getting a little testy. And we know he's capable of firing a head coach midseason. We saw it with Urban Meyer a few years ago. If things really go south in, the South over there in Florida, then they're willing to make those decisions.
Pun intended. I like it.
Definitely intended. But I mean, Doug Peterson, he's had a rough stretch here. And we were talking about Jacksonville earlier before the season started. I believe I even suggested they were one of my dark horses. Them, along with the Chargers, were two of the teams I think people were sleeping on entering the season. I'm not willing to panic just yet because Jacksonville has so much talent on offense. Really, the Achilles heel for them in the early goings of this season has been their defense. It's currently the third worst defense in the NFL. Offense is seventh worst offense, but there's so much potential there. I'm waiting though for Trevor Lawrence, man. I'm waiting for
Yeah.
this guy to break out, and he just hasn't done it. So it's time. The clock's ticking on Lawrence to prove himself, I think.
Yeah, he got paid, and it's really a shame. And if you don't know, he's lost 9 straight starts. That's so bad.
I
Nine
do know.
straight starts.
That's
That's tough. So
that's all they're
Shad
talking
Khan,
about.
he's upset. His mustache is curling over a couple more times, and I think he's about to come out here guns a-blazing. And if they lose a couple more games, you can see heads roll left and right. Something's got to change.
Antonino, I think you should grow out the Shad Khan mustache. I mean,
I-
you're a
I've
Florida man now. Is that what the Florida guys do down there? Grow out the curly stash.
I can't talk for everyone, but it does come and go in waves. You will see the mustache at some point this year.
Okay, fair enough. A few honorable mentions. Brian Dabble, head coach of the Giants, murmurs he's on the hot seat. Matt Eberflus, head coach of Chicago. Both of these guys were on Hard Knocks over the offseason and summer. One more guy, Robert Saleh.
Robert Saleh. We got to talk about this one.
Okay. How about we tee this up then into second down? I like how we did that. That's just so organized, so well crafted there. So second down, man, jet down. Is a jet down? The blunder in the Meadowlands. The Jets fall to the lonely Denver Broncos, who coming into the season had one of the lowest win expectations. I think it was like Vegas was giving them about 5 wins, and they're already at 2. So they're projecting pretty well, sitting at 2-2 and having a big upset 10-9 win against the Jets. What's going on in New York?
Red alert, red alert. I don't know if they got to hit that button to eject out of the jet. You know, the button where the parachute comes out of
Get out of
like
there.
falling from the sky. That could be soon because if you watch this game, Holy moly cannoli. This was an ugly one. The quarterback for the Broncos, Bo Nix, he had negative yardage at halftime. He had like -7 yards at half, but the Jets were winning 6-0, and they still found a way to lose the game. I don't know what the heck is going on in New York. There was at one point, it was 0-0 game. They had first and goal at the 1. They run with Brees Hall, no gain. Run with Brees Hall again, no gain. Third play, incomplete. Fourth and goal at the 1, 5-yard penalty. I mean, what are we doing here, folks? Give the ball to the Braylon, the second.
Braylon Allen, yeah.
The dude's a beast. Give him the ball for a yard, for Christ's sake.
Fantasy
Jeez.
managers won't be too happy if that occurs. But Braylon Allen has been the better back. He's averaging about 4.8 yards a carry.
Yeah.
Brees Hall's only averaging 3.2. So efficiency has just plummeted for Brees Hall. It might be time to get that committee rolling. And I know fantasy managers are going to hate that if you drafted Brees Hall in the top 5 in this year's fantasy football drafts. But yeah, no, the offense that we were promised coming into the season by the Jets has not lived up to the expectations. Inconsistent. And when I was watching this game, the thing that stood out to me too, and Jets fans were hanging so much hope on this guy. You know, we're going with Aaron Rodgers here.
Mhm.
He looks like a 40-year-old quarterback out there, Antonino. And a few weeks ago, I was blasting the Jets because they get so much hype and they don't deserve it because this is just a poor franchise. There's so much media attention, so much expectation, scrutiny. It's hard to win in that environment. And you have Robert Saleh now with a 20-35 record, has not had a winning season as a Jets head coach. He is for sure on the hot seat. I think he'll make it to the end of this year, but mark my words, if they don't make the playoffs, Salah's gone.
Yep.
Rodgers is gone. The clean house, get rid of Lazard. Time to let all of Rodgers' play pals get out of the franchise too, and the Jets will click reset yet again.
Yep, and going back to Robert Saleh, can't agree with you more. There was 13 penalties. That's on the coaching staff. That's discipline. And a lot of those were false starts. That was the cadence. They've been doing this since preseason, the same cadence over and over. Rodgers always likes to do what the green 19, I think it is, and he's getting his own players to jump too early. And first and go at the 1, and you can't punch it in. If they get a touchdown there, the whole flow of the game might change. Little things like that have to be driving New York Jets fans crazy right now.
Oh, they are. As you know, and some of our listeners know, my father-in-law, brother-in-law are Jets fans. My father-in-law thought this game was in the bag too. At one point, when the Jets were lining up for a field goal with Zerline, they got the ball back. The kick would have made the game 12-7, probably out of reach because of the way the game flow was going. Denver wasn't able to move the ball. Zerline misses the 50-yard kick, giving Denver the short field. They go and win. My father-in-law was in disbelief, man. He just could not believe that they lost to Denver. So I don't know. Why choose pain and torture? Like that's what Jets fans do, man. They choose depression and misery by supporting that team.
I'm gonna take the blame for this one. Last week I did say Giants and Jets, New York, stand
You
up.
did.
I said you guys are doing so good. And go figure, this week the Giants and Jets both played home games in the Meadowlands. 140,000 people showed up to both those games combined, and not a single touchdown was scored. I take full
You
responsibility.
should. Who were they playing last week? The Jets were
Oh,
playing New England and the Giants were playing Cleveland, both sorry teams, and we were anointing them way too fast. I was giving you your glory and your little podium there, though. But yeah, I thought that was jumping the gun a little bit for sure.
better days ahead for New York teams, I hope. We got to reverse jinx this thing.
Yeah. All right, man. That's wrapping up second down, which only means we're heading into our half-minute halftime show. Get it started.
The chain movement, ladies and gentlemen, is growing. I appreciate the support. We appreciate the support. If you like what we're doing, give us a follow on Instagram.
That's right. But, give us a 5-star Spotify rating. If you've been a loyal listener here and you're enjoying the downs, any little bit counts. It really helps us continue to grow the podcast and grow the YouTube channel as well. So that's going to wrap up our half-minute halftime show, Antonino. We're going to get into third and long. And the topic of conversation here, man, freak plays. So, what do we mean by freak plays? There were some odd injuries that happened over the weekend on some really odd plays. Freak performances, too. We saw some statistical anomalies take place over Monday Night Football and into the weekend. And then there were some familiar faces that resurfaced and showed themselves yet again. So, to get this down kickstarted, the first one, I want to give you the platform, Rashee Rice. He hurt himself with an injury of Patrick Mahomes. What is your reaction to this?
Oh man,
Be
you really
careful here. Be careful here.
you
PG.
you you really don't want to wish an injury upon anyone. Let's be clear here. You feel for the guy, but when we talk about something, a little something called karma, talk about a guy who likes going really fast and crashing and leaving the scene of the crime.
Oh
And
man!
what
Wow.
kind of karma? The guy tried to make the tackle. Mahomes comes up, tries to take the defender who got his interception. They collide. Mahomes goes right to his knee. He exits the game in a stretcher on the cart. What can you say? Full circle.
Dang, Antonino. You're
Yeah.
giving karmatic influence to Rashee Rice's injury.
He fled the scene quickly.
Dang. That's okay. You kept it PG for the most
Yeah,
part. We can read
yeah.
between the lines though what your intentions are behind this analysis that you're providing. Uh it's still unclear though what's going to happen to Rashee Rice. This could be a huge blow for Kansas City. The fear is that he tore his ACL. That's worst case scenario. As of recording this episode, there has not been any latest news to break. The Chiefs are getting second opinions on this. He's getting another MRI, I believe. So it's seeming though that this is going to be a long-term injury, which means Travis Kelce, hello, welcome back to the offense. I think it's going to feed through Kelce yet again, as we're accustomed to seeing.
Yeah. Again, I don't want to joke too much. You feel bad for the guy. He is probably going to be out for the year. They want a second opinion to see maybe he can come back at some point. That might not happen, but Mahomes, I bet you he's screaming for the rooftops for some help. He's already having a pedestrian season, 6 touchdowns, I believe 5 interceptions. Mahomes needs help. Kelsey's a shade of himself in prior years.
Hmm.
So could this be something else brewing here? Maybe a trade, perhaps.
Ooh, foreshadowing.
Ominous.
Maybe. I don't know though. Okay, so that was more of like the oddball thing that happened that we saw. Just an odd occurrence, an odd way to get that injury. And it was early in the game too. So Rashee Rice didn't play the rest of the game. But we also saw a statistical anomaly occur Monday night. Jared Goff, he threw a perfect game. The as perfect as you can make it, 18 for 18, over 200 yards, 2 touchdowns in a victory over Seattle. What are we seeing here?
I mean, that's as perfect as 18 for 18, 100% completion percentage. But the cherry on top is the guy caught a touchdown pass too.
Yeah.
He did it all on
Yeah.
this day, ladies and gentlemen.
And time out real quick. This is where things get even weirder and stranger. This is why this down is fun. Dan Campbell, the head coach of Detroit, I don't know if you heard this happen after the game. He gave the game ball out. Everybody would
Yeah.
assume in their right mind, okay, obviously Jared Goff, first player ever with more than 10 pass attempts to complete every single pass. NFL record hadn't been done since like the early 1950s. Had a receiving touchdown, passing touchdown. Game ball goes to him, right? No brainer. No. He gave a game ball to Kirby Joseph, who had the game sealing pick, and Jamison Williams, who was the recipient of that long 60 plus touchdown from Goff in his perfect game.
Oh my
Like,
gosh.
oh my gosh.
The
If we
game seal. Oh man, that's
yeah,
bad.
if we brought back what were you thinking, this would have for sure gone on what were you thinking Dan Campbell for not giving Goff the game ball. Like, come on.
That's so bad. That one of those, the game sealing pick, they're up by 2 scores, and then Williams, who got the touchdown, I think he dunked on the goalpost. He's going to get fined for that. But how do
Yeah.
you not get your quarterback the
Yeah.
game ball? Like,
Right.
what in the world? But they did take down the undefeated Seattle Seahawks. I know last week we talked about the undefeated
Yeah.
teams, and Seattle was supposed to have one of the best defenses in the league. Defensive minded coach. They've shown good defense throughout. That was That was bad. Like every possession was a touchdown. There was no stopping the Lions from going up and down the field in their black jerseys, might I say, that looked phenomenal. All black jerseys. So good on Jared Goff. That was a good performance. Definitely glad I have him on my fantasy team.
It was a good performance, and we actually saw a familiar face too, Antonino, resurface out of the ether. A guy that we probably didn't expect to see again, but never count this guy out. Do you know who I'm talking about?
I have a good feeling.
That's has nothing to do with when we prepped our notes, right?
No, no,
it,
it's
it's Joe Flacco. Yeah,
Joe
I'll give
Flacco.
you.
Yeah.
I'll give it to you. Joe Flacco. He came in for an injured Anthony Richardson. Richardson hurt his hip. Still uncertain how long he might miss time. It's sounding like, but Flacco got it done with the Colts. What did you see from his performance?
Dare I say it, the Stampede in Indianapolis, that is the Colts, is a better team with Joe Flacco at quarterback. Anthony Richardson, great talent. Don't get me wrong, great talent. The guy's only started 19 games or so in his college and professional career combined 19 starts, 19, 20 starts. Ridiculous. The guy needs time. He runs too much. He's getting hurt. Joe Flacco was competent and beat a strong Pittsburgh Steelers defense to the tune of scoring 27 points. Joe Flacco, the ageless wonder.
Yeah, I mean I agree. Like watching that game too, Richardson he has some accuracy issues, and that's been very persistent so far in his short career, where he's missing wide open looks, he's making some questionable decisions, as you would expect from a guy with very little experience. But it's not helping him that he's missing time with these injuries too. The worst thing for a young quarterback, and that stunts their growth and development, are injuries that are taking them out of their repetitions. They need the game action. So Flacco kind of taking control. He was hitting some guys downfield. Michael Pittman Jr. became relevant again. I mean, we hadn't really heard his name too much this season, and then all of a sudden Flacco comes in and Pittman has his best game of the season. We saw similar things last year with Cleveland, though. Remember,
Yep.
Deshaun Watson, similar case, just not competent, could stay healthy, missed a lot of time due to nefarious reasons. Uh, but Flacco comes in and just makes the Browns look like a high flying, top flight offense.
Yep. Hey, Anthony Richardson, go ahead and grab that clipboard for me. Get the Gatorade. Joe Flacco should take over from here. And crazy fun fact, Joe Flacco is the same age as Anthony Richardson's mom, and he's still
What?
playing in the NFL as a starting quarterback. That is wild to me.
Where did you pull that out? Did you like start following her on Instagram or something? Sending her a DM?
There was an interview after the game and it came up. Joe Flacco was like, "Oh yeah, he probably didn't think I was popular," or something around those lines. I bet you Anthony Richardson didn't watch much Joe Flacco growing up.
Probably not. Probably not. He probably didn't know who he was. But
Yeah.
all right, man. Any other last performers before we head into our fourth down here?
Hey, we gotta bring up the freak of all freaks, Derrick Henry. All-purpose yards, over 200 yards. He marched up and down that M&T Bank Stadium and ran all over the Buffalo Bills. Wow. Talk about a heck of a day and a heck of a performance for someone's fantasy team.
Okay, but to me, it just sounds like you're becoming a Ravens sympathizer now.
Ooh, that lasted up until the game ended because the Ravens are about to lose by 100 points this coming week. So
Oh,
that
okay.
ended fast.
All the confidence in the world after one lowly win.
Ouch.
All right, Antonino. That's it for third down. It's fourth and forever, man. What should we do?
You know what time it is. Let's go for it.
Hey, all right, let's go for fourth and forever. It's time to play teacher. So get those grade books out. Let's get the pen and paper. It's our quarterly rookie report card. So we're going to get some grades out. We're going to go through some names here for some rookie performers that are standing out, maybe some high profile names. First one, right off the bat, Jaden Daniels, the quarterback, second overall pick for the Washington Commanders. Commanders are 3-1 right now. What are we giving him? What's the grade?
I've been waiting my whole life to take out this red pen, like my teachers used to do in the back in the day, giving F's or D's or maybe A's every now and then. And I want to use this thing to give Jaden Daniels an A plus 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 because this guy is putting the Commanders on the map. Their fans have hope again. Again, I went to the Commanders bar near me. I went with my buddy Barry, my buddy Scott. We had a good old time. I can't be happier for the whole DMV right now. Everyone listening from the DMV, this is your guy. Rejoice. You finally found him.
Ugh, I hope it works out for them. I do. You know, even as a Cowboys fan, it hasn't been fun watching Dallas torch Washington and New York every season for the past decade. I haven't felt this kind of energy around a Washington team since 2012, yeah, when Robert Griffin III was the
Mhm.
rookie quarterback for Washington. It's giving me that kind of vibe. I mean, Daniels, he has an 82% completion percentage, highest by any player in a 4 game span, by any player, not just a rookie quarterback. This is the highest completion percentage through 4 games with a minimum 100 pass attempts. Dude's getting it done all over. He has 7 touchdowns, 4 rushing, 3 passing. He threw his first pick this past weekend against Arizona. But I'm going with that A plus, man. And this is coming from a Cowboy fan. So Washington fans, accept that praise and move on. All
Yeah.
right.
Yep. This is rarefied air. Good on Jaden Daniels.
That's for sure. All right. Another quarterback, the number 1 overall pick. High expectations for Caleb Williams coming into this season. Perhaps unfairly lofty expectations. I think that's the Bears have a good offense in terms of weapons with Keenan Allen, Roma Dunze. They spent a top 10 pick on him. What's your take? What are we grading Mr. Caleb Williams for the first quarter here?
This is as average gets. I'm going to give him a C minus because half of it, I can't tell if it's the offensive line being so bad or if it's him not making the right reads on some plays that I've noticed. So I'm going to give it a C, average.
Okay. Yeah, I give him a C too. That was what I was kind of anticipating. They did win this game against the Rams. Again, the line has looked pedestrian, suspect. Caleb Williams, though, quarterback rating 72, QBR 30. He's been sacked 16 times, so he's taken a lot of sacks. And one of the knocks on him and the kryptonite that people were pointing out when he was coming out of college, he does hold the ball too long sometimes. And we're
Yep.
seeing that with the Bears. It doesn't help that his offensive line isn't protecting him too well, but he's trying to do too much. He's just got to
Yep.
settle in, give him some quick reads, and I think this guy has a ton of talent and can be a lot better too.
Yep. I agree.
All right, maybe a few more. Let's just lump these two together. Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Neighbors, the top 2 wide receivers taken. What are we giving them here?
It's an A. Malik Neighbors an A plus. Harrison maybe an A minus, just because he doesn't get as many opportunities. But A's all around.
Oh, okay. No, I'll give Harrison a B plus. He's had 28 targets, so he's getting a lot of opportunities. I think not compared to Neighbors, who's obviously an A plus, 52 targets,
Yep.
35 catches through 4 games. Last one, I want to give you the time for this guy, Bo Nix.
Bo Nix.
What,
Talk
what is
about it.
Mr. Bo Nix? This is going to be I think we're going to go 2 different ways on him.
I'm gonna give him a C plus, and it hurts me. It hurts me.
Really?
Actually, I'm gonna change it to a
Yeah.
B minus. I'm gonna change it to a B minus.
Oh, okay.
The leadership's impeccable to get -7 passing yards and a half, but still win on the road to make his team 2-2, 2 game win streak, risen from the dead. 2-2. Broncos have hope. Their defense is great, and it doesn't matter how you do it. A win's a win. Bo Nix, B minus.
Okay. You think he's doing better than Williams? You're giving him a
Yeah.
higher grade than Caleb.
Yep.
Really? Okay. So,
Yep.
I mean, he has a QB rating of a 62, QBR 49, which is better than Williams. But, oh, man, Antonino, I think this is a C minus, my man. Like, come on. The one thing I'll give Bo Nix, he's playing with a whole lot less talent than what Caleb
Yes.
Williams has on that
Yep.
offense. And he's doing more with less. Same record, worst team. He did throw his first passing touchdown, though. I don't know if you were aware of that. His first
Yes.
passing touchdown was this past week. So 1 passing TD, 2 rushing TDs, 4 picks. He looks like a rookie. He's only been sacked 4 times though, so he's getting out of the pocket and doing some things. So
I have faith. I have faith. He's playing in Sean Payton's system, and the guy has like the longest play calls ever known to man. It's like rocket science, just getting the playoff in the huddle. So it's going to come around. Bo Nix, B-. It'll slowly improve.
all right, man. Well, that does it for 4th down, which means we have to head into this 2-minute drill. Let's get kick-started. What's the news? What's the latest?
It's official. Jaden Daniels has the #1 selling jersey in the NFL, folks.
Wow, and Devontae Adams, Antonino, has been informing the Vegas Raiders that he would prefer to be traded at this point. This is happening shortly after Antonio Pierce, the head coach, apparently liked an Instagram post suggesting Adams would get traded.
Oh, hate to see it. Panthers linebacker Shaq Thompson tears his ACL, and he's out for the year.
Oh, and more injuries to note. Dallas has placed DeMarcus Lawrence on IR, so he's going to miss at least a month, while Micah Parsons is probably going to miss some games too with a high ankle sprain. So defense was already looking bad. Now it's probably going to be worse.
In order to help their defensive line, the Cowboys get the Bengals scraps by signing KJ Henry off the Bengals practice squad to a 2-year deal.
He's about to be a Pro Bowler. Tennessee will stick with Will Levis after Mason Rudolph came in for cleanup duty after Levis injured his shoulder in the Monday night win over Miami, but head coach Callahan has stuck with his guy.
In Miami, wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr. is expected to practice this week. Someone ought to tell him to get in line because there's not that many receptions to go around.
Not when Tyler Huntley is going to be the starting quarterback yet again after a rough performance and a rough loss to Tennessee.
Von Miller today got suspended 4 games for violating the NFL's personal conduct policy. Who knows what he did, but it must be bad.
It was, it was abuse. But anyway, Nick Chubb is currently on the physically unable to perform list of the PUP. He has entered, though, that 21-day window where he can begin practicing again after that really gnarly knee injury from last year. So hoping to see Chubb back in practice soon. That'd be a miracle.
Yes, and last but not least, everyone, you can't end the show without a Bengals reference. Joe Burrow tied for the 4th fastest player ever to 15,000 yards. Congrats to Joe Burrow, and look forward to the winning streak to come.
All right, man. So that does it for the 2-minute drill. Any last words until next Wednesday?
I want to make sure I give a loud and clear message to everyone that was involved in the hurricane that happened this past week. We're praying for all of you. We wish everyone the best. If this show can just bring a shed of light to your day, that's what we're here for. And until the next episode, you know the drill. We'll see you on the next one. The next one is the best one.
Yeah. Glad you're okay too down there, man. But thank you for joining us for another episode of the First and 30 podcast. Until next Wednesday, remember, when your number's called, no matter the odds,
let's go for it, baby.